Hello everyone and welcome to episode 58 of our game dev tutorials. Today what we're going to work on is step 4 of our simple loot system, which is the step 1 of dragging and dropping. So first of all, we're going to work on getting to be able to drag an item, and then next episode we will work on dropping that item from slot to slot. I split it up because it just takes a little longer than I thought I could get done in one video. I didn't want to get too overwhelming. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to create the Dragable 2D class, and then we're going to have inventory items inherit from it. Then we are going to create the drag and drop packet, which is a really generic packet with you'll see, but it's just super generic for dragging and dropping pretty much anything. We got to add the pipeline for that, which will go in main, and then we have to make a bunch of edits to our code. So there's a bit to do here, and we are going to do our best to get to it in a timely fashion here. Alright, so first thing first, we're going to create Dragable 2D. And so it's an engine class, so we're going to come down in here. It is type animated 2D. So what we're going to do is just, I don't know that we need animated 2D. Could probably just grab something simple. Yeah, like that. Copy. Paste. Rename. This is Dragable 2D. Let's get that name here. Make sure we're on the right class. And we'll add all that. Okay. That I think is correct. We are going to pass in color too. Just in case we need to at some point. Okay, so that gives us that. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to create, well, you know what, let's follow this thread all the way through. So we need inventory item, so that's there. And remember, last episode where I said I waffle back and forth on how we do this? We are going to change it. This will now inherit from Dragable 2D, and we are going to grab the same basis here, and our path is no, we can leave this the same. So we actually want both of those pieces. Do it this way, and then we'll get the specific item elsewhere. This should error, I assume. Well, there's that. It's now going to just be that. So we removed icon. So dot icon. This should error in a number of places. Okay. So test item just needs the guts here now. Got a new mouse, so bear with me. Not even super happy with it, so I'll probably be getting another new mouse. Okay, so that gets us to working there. All that did was put Dragable 2D in between those two parts, and then in Dragable 2D, what we need to do to add, what we're doing special here is we are public bool dragging. And we won't use this now, but it's something we can do for polish later. So we're going to put it in, and then we do need type. So here we're going to say type equals Dragable 2D. It doesn't matter how you spell it as long as you test for it the same. In this case, we'll just put it capital. It doesn't do anything. This is however you define it. We're gonna have all inventory items defined as inventory items, and then you could say, well, I could just do get type to string. Yes, except for test item within return test item, not inventory item. So we want to know everything that's an inventory item. So you know, we have that saved. You could do this any number of ways. This is how I'm choosing to do it for the purposes of this tutorial to make it simple. But this is still a good way regardless. I mean, you could use ints, you could use all kinds of stuff. You just need to be able to tell what this is. And in this case, we're going to use a string because it's easy to read. Okay, and then I guess we can go over this part now. This is our update, and we have to define what makes something dragging. And the answer to that is we want to know that it was initially clicked on and that the current mouse position is far enough away, whatever we declare that to be, from the original click. Now, the problem we have here is we don't yet have any way of testing first mouse. So if we look at hover, we go to definition, you'll see that we are using new mouse to check this, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just fine. However, we need to be able to check first mouse. So hover first, or first mouse, or whatever you want to call it there. And then instead of new mouse pose, we'll use first mouse pose. Now you can see that these are the same. You could pass in a vector here that deals with what position you're checking against, but in this case, 99.9% of the time it's these two. So we're just going to have two different functions for now. You can do it however you want. I'm letting you know if you want to add another vector 2 in here, swap this out here with the vector that comes in, and you're good to go. But for the sake of this tutorial, this is how I'm choosing to do it. For clarity, but also just for ease of use. Oops. Uh-oh, where did I put the hover function out? In the wrong spot. That's where we put it at. This needs to go over here. Oh, the whole function does. Sorry about that. We all make mistakes. It happens. Hover first, and then we're going to need offset. So this is testing where the first mouse click hovers. Then we need to test that our left click is down. So globals.mouse dot left click hold, and we need globals dot get distance, and then greater than, and this is where you're gonna have to be subjective with what you feel is good. 15 pixels is probably plenty. You could probably do as little as 7 or 8 pixels, or as many as 20, 25 pixels. So you find what you feel is good here. We are testing the first pose against the new pose. So that's what we're testing against, and then in here we will fill this out in a bit. So this is a test against these things. Now, another thing that we're going to do is we are not currently in our character menu even testing for the update. So take that and we change it to update, and then we need to go to the slot. We also need to update here. So neither of those were currently being called, so now they are. So that will now test for that. Let me build real fast, make sure we don't have any weird errors. Nope. Okay. So the next thing we need to do, according to, and that was a lot, but that takes care of Draggable 2D, other than the adding it to our drag and drop package. So, but first we need to create that and do the pipeline there in order to get this all hooked up. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and come down into our engine again, and then create a new folder. At least that's what I'm going to do. You can put it where you want, but miscellaneous folder. These are pretty specific, so having a miscellaneous folder is not so bad. And then just grab something. These are kind of complicated. Maybe we'll grab this guy again. Paste him in here. Rename him. Drag and drop packet. Okay. Doesn't have to be called a packet. It can be called whatever you want. Some ways it actually doesn't make sense for it to be a packet because I'm going to do some logic in it, but typically I don't do much logic, if any, in packets, and so that is a little bit strange, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. We need a few things. We need public vector 2. The largest dimension is that we're going to allow the icon to be. So in this case, I'm going to say max dems. We are just going to set it equal, so it's not really going to be a max for this tutorial, but realistically, you wouldn't want to stretch an image. So having this dems, you would test against the item's file size and then decide whether you want to use max dems or the file size, depending on which one's smaller. But we're not going to do that today. I just wanted to mention it. So we're going to use object here, and object can be pretty much anything. So that's why we're going to do it. And then we're going to say public string type. Now, there's 500,000 ways how you could do this type, and I kind of mentioned this earlier. This is going to be the easiest for me to explain, and again, it's a good way to do it. So those two things combined are going to lead me to do it this way, and it's super readable, which is kind of nice. And then this is going to be max dems. And then I don't think we're not inheriting from anything, or we shouldn't be. So there we go. And then we're going to say max dems equals max dems. Okay. Now, what's going to happen periodically throughout the game or the program running is that we're going to have an opportunity to set this item. So we're going to create a function called setItem. Another good name for this class could be drag and drop manager. So I'll just mention that. I must have hit insert or something crazy. Okay, there we go. So object item, and then we're going to need string type, and then we're going to need string image string, and I forgot to make public animated 2D icon. You'll see why this is important in a second, but you're going to want it. So in here, we're going to say, what are we going to say? We're going to set them equal to each other, right? So we're going to say item equals item. We are going to say type equals type. And then, whoops. Boy, you might think I got a new keyboard, not a new mouse, huh? All right. And we are going to say if image string not equal to nothing, then we'll do something. Otherwise, we're going to say icon equal null. And that'll become slightly important in a minute. Otherwise, we're going to create the animated 2D. So icon equals new animated 2D. We are going to use the image string. we are going to use 0, 0 for our position. We are going to use max dims for our dimensions. We are going to use 1, 1, so a single frame. And then we are going to say color dot white. Okay. So that takes care of that. Now we are going to need an update for this. So public virtual void update. And in here, what we want to do is we want to remove this the item in here if it's dropped, essentially resetting everything. So that would be globals.mouse dot left click release, and then if it's released we are going to clear it out. So item equals null, type equals blank, and icon equals null. So that'll take care of that. And then in our draw, because we do need to be able to draw these things when they're dragging, public virtual void draw, and if icon not equal null, icon dot draw, and that one is going to draw wherever our mouse is, because right, we're dragging it. But on top of that, we don't want to draw from the center of the item on our mouse. We want to draw the top left corner on our mouse, and you'll see that working in a minute. So that means we have to also shift the origin. So new vector2 globals dot mouse dot new pose dot x globals dot mouse dot new pose dot y. And then we have new vector2 0, 0, and then we're going to have color dot white. Now this here, if you guys remember from earlier, in the tutorial series, sets the origin to the top left of the square. So if the square is that, then it's going to be at the top left. Okay. So this is our drag and drop packet. Let's build it real quick, make sure that we're still in good shape. We are. Now I need to go into globals, and we need to create this packet. So public static drag and drop packet, drag and drop packet. Okay, and then we need to go into main. We need to instantiate it or initialize it, however you want to say. It's not particularly a high priority, so we can come way down here. So globals dot drag and drop equals new globals dot drag and drop, and then we have to pass it a vector, so we'll do that. And then like 40/40 is fine, but you guys can resize. This is the size of the image when it's dragging, so figure out what you feel is best there. Okay, in update, we are going to need to update this, but an important part about this is we need to do it near last. We want to run all of our logic before we erase the drag and drop packet. If you don't do this right, you will not be able to make this work later. So please put it right here, right above your keyboard and mouse. So if globals dot drag and drop packet not equal null, right? So if you copy paste this code into another game that may or may not have dragging and dropping, we want to test to make sure that it exists, otherwise it'll just crash. So let's do that, and then we'll say globals dot drag and drop packet dot update. Done. Now we're going to copy paste this into draw, and we have exactly the same thing going on. We want to draw this, only the cursor should draw above it. So we have the drag and drop packet, and we're going to do draw. Okay, so this gives us in the drawing. It goes right below our cursor, and the update happens at the very end, or the only thing that's left is the mouse and keyboard updating. All right, build, give it a check. Okay, so we have that. The last thing we need to do is come in here and fill this piece out. So now we know that our packet is at globals dot drag and drop packet dot set item. We are going to set the item to this, the type to type, and the image string. Ooh, I forgot to do that part. Okay, let's do that real fast. So there's other ways to do this, but this is simple and easy on your processing. So we're going to say public string model string. Then we always want to have our model string available to us. I mean, always, so that we can easily copy something if we need to, like in this case. So we're going to just quickly rewire how basic 2D works. Just all we did was we added a string here. We set the string to the path, which we're already passing in, and now we've changed these two out. Why? Because you really want to make sure these are the same. So if you ever do anything in between here, it's good to have that changed. Technically, these two are the same thing, so you could left path there, but we don't need to. Okay, so we did that. Now we've got to come in here and say model string. Okay, so that will allow us to create the icon for ourselves. And if I'm not mistaken, we actually should be good to give it a test. So let me grab this, put it over here, say play. Okay. Oh good, already got something. Let's see. There it is. And there we go. I'm gonna drop it. It's gone. I'm gonna grab it again. Notice it doesn't grab yet. We move a little bit, and there it is. So there we go. Eventually, next time, hopefully, we'll be able to move this between our different slots. But that is as far as I plan to go today. So, if you guys are enjoying what I'm doing and enjoying learning to do all this stuff, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It means a lot to me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend. You know, share these things. If you have a friend that's interested in this kind of content, video game creation at all, or thinks he might be or she might be, you know, just share a link. You know, get the word out a little bit. And we'll continue on with this series soon. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, do the whole thing. And yeah, guys, see you guys in a week or two, and we'll try to get this little circle going wherever we tell it to go. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next week.